Oh, whoops. All right. How's everyone doing? And by everyone, I mean just Victoria. Oh, nope, just Victoria still. Give people a couple minutes to get in here. Okay. Hi, Victoria. Looks like you're the only one in here right now. So I'm going to open this up and say, is there anything specific that you want as far as learning in campaigns goes? It's Facebook campaigns that we will be doing. However, oh, we have a few more people. Hold on. Admit all. Oh, excellent. How's everybody doing? Sorry, I had missed a couple of you popping on the screen there. It's making me admit people. So thanks for coming to class today for Facebook ad campaigns. We got a small group so far. If anybody has any specific questions and want to type them in the chat, feel free to do so, and we will get started in just 1 second. I'm just fixing my monitors so that I can see when everything happens here. Hello, Debbie Orr. Thanks for joining us. We're just getting started here. Just fixing something on my computer. All right. And again, if anybody has any specific questions that they want answered, feel free to type them in the chat. Excellent. All right, so today is we're going to be doing Facebook campaigns, and we're a couple different types of campaigns that we can run on Facebook, and a couple of different outcomes we can have. Is there a specific type of campaign that people want to see done here? Because we can set up anything at this point. So if you have an idea of one you want to do, let's jump in. The simplest is a listing campaign. However, you can do all sorts of campaigns. Well, Debbie, I think you're talking, but you're muted. There you go.
I wasn't actually talking until now, until this very moment. All right, so I have a couple of questions. So I've had the most success with listing promotions, listing
Sure.
campaigns. And I keep hearing of people who are having good success with promoting mortgage and
Okay.
perhaps promoting their app. And I'm wondering if there are strategies that I'm missing on that, as well as are there variations on just promoting a listing to find a buyer?
Those are great questions. Okay, so how to promote. So that's more of a strategy. And we might throw that out to the audience here as well. What successes have people been finding in their ads if you've been running ads? And maybe put it in the chat real quick, everybody. Have you been running ads, and what ads have you found success with, and what ads haven't you found success with, if you want to put that in there. And we'll take a look at that. Let me pull up the chat screen. Oh, and Debbie, you don't see you see my background?
I do. You have a shaded red balloon today, le ballon rouge.
So, yeah. Okay, so here we go.
A red
so
halo.
I don't see any chat messages here. Give me 1 second. Oh, here we go. We got a couple things. So no questions from Victoria. Okay, no questions. Okay. Just interested. So mostly people interested to learn how to do this. So I've heard a couple of things online, Debbie, to answer your question as far as what ads to run. I haven't heard the same thing on help with the mortgages, but ultimately, who are we targeting with mortgages? We're targeting buyers, right? As well as with the listing ads, we're targeting buyers as well. So ultimately, what you're doing is, you're pulling in those buyer pools, and the question ultimately is how interested are they, right? So if you put somebody and they're going to be looking at a listing, or they're curious about a listing, they could be on the spectrum of voyeur, right? They could be very curious. So they may put in real information, they may not. They may be serious now, they may be serious in 9 months, right? The ads that you run for mortgages are most likely going to be less popular for a wide variety of people, because now you're looking at people who are actually serious about taking a next step. So when you run ads for mortgage, you're most likely going to be finding more serious people, although the amount of spend that you're going to have to do to get somebody interested is probably a little bit higher. But, again, this is mostly anecdotal from what I've seen online and some of the things. But the idea is you're at a point in the process where you're going to be more interested in taking a step. Otherwise, you wouldn't be interested in a mortgage ad, right? It wouldn't be something that you're curious from.
So my second follow-up question to that would be, are there strategies for targeting that audience? And you can save that until you get into that part of the
Sure.
demonstration. So, because I know people want to see steps here. Targeting the audience and or lengthening or deepening the number of leads that you're going for. So increasing your pay, your cost.
Sure.
Right.
So I have a couple of thoughts on that, on how we can do that. So let's first talk about how do we just get names in our database who are potential buyers. And so the first way to do that with Facebook is you do an ad. And so from the home screen, and your home screen looks like this when you log into Command, you're going to click on the campaign section. Now, as you can see here, I clicked on the red KW and opened up the tray. I will reiterate, if anybody doesn't know what these little applets are on the side, if you click on the red KW, it will open that up and you'll be able to see. So we're going to go down to campaigns. So I went down to campaigns, and this is now your campaigns dashboard. The cool thing is it's going to show you, now this past 30 days, I haven't been spending a lot on ads, as you can see here. So let's do year to date. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go now and I'm going to create a new campaign. And from there, I'm going to click on a social ad. Now you see here, there are actually two things you can do, social ad and social post. Both require a business page. You can't do anything in command from your personal Facebook. So you need to A, have your personal Facebook, and B, have a business page set up. So this is assuming that you have those two things. So we're going to click on social ad. And now what we're going to do is we can do a couple of things. We can advertise a listing, or we can advertise multiple listings. You can attract sellers, attract talent, brand awareness, event awareness, attract buyers, and other. I would argue that advertise a listing and attract buyers are very similar things, although you may use them right now. And I know there are people, there are some teachers who say this will change how the system runs the ads. That is not true. I have confirmed with KWRI. This is for classification purposes only, and so that Kelly can learn. So you still want to pick the right one. However, it's not going to affect your ads significantly. I think there's one exception that changes how the ad is run, and I forget which one that is. But for most of the things, advertise listing, multiple listing, and attract buyer are all going to run it in very similar ways. Now, the biggest difference between advertise listing and advertise multiple listing, obviously, is that you can run more than one listing on the multiple listing thing. We're just going to click advertise listing, and we're going to call this, somebody give me an address that they'd be okay with me marketing, if you don't mind. First to speak up gets it.
3 Dahlia, Dahlia.
Okay. So, and I'm just going to run it on Facebook. Now, another thing that I have heard, which I have asked KWRI and they haven't been able to confirm this, is that clicking on one or both changes how the system runs it. It's not. It does no difference other than how you set up the campaign. Because it has two very distinct channels that it runs on. So if you want to do just Facebook or you want to do just Instagram, that's fine. It will not change the way the system runs the ads, other than how money is budgeted. So I'm just going to click Facebook, but you can click Facebook or Instagram. It doesn't matter. That's fine. I'm going to click Setup Campaign. Now here it goes. It's going to run this in, and it's pulling in listings. Now here's the thing. This is an old listing of mine that it's grabbed. If you have trouble with this, where it does not show your listings properly on the screen, you need to reach out to KW support, and they can fix this for you. They will walk you through, and they will get it properly connected on the back end. There are a couple of reasons. I'm not going to go through all of them now as to why that happens. However, it might not grab your listing. So Debbie, that was Dahlia, 3 Dahlia. Can you say that again?
Dahlia, yes, 3.
Dahlia Lane, is this it, in Reading?
The one, yep.
Okay, so I'm going to click save. And now if it's in the MLS, it will pull it up in the MLS. If it's not, it's going to have some issues here. And it usually takes a couple of days to get from the MLS to this system. So is it in the MLS?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm just going to close this. We'll skip doing a picture for right now. And it's going to bring up your ad. So now that it's brought in your ad, we've picked the name and the goal, we've picked the listing, we're going to pick the ad text. So I would just do something to pull people's attention in here. So again, Tranquility Entertainment, amazing package situated in a quiet cul-de-sac in the heart of Reading. The spacious home is relaxing for any season. Now I'm going to pull up Emojipedia. If you want to put emojis in your ad, I use Emojipedia to find the emojis. So I'm just going to do some interesting ad text here. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to put this here. And as you can see, it's putting it right in here. And let's see what we can do. So I don't want that. Now, Debbie, what is something about this house that is unique about it? Why would somebody buy this house?
So great living space. There's a fabulous sunroom that overlooks the country club setting of
Okay.
tennis court and in-ground pool.
Okay. So I might say something like, what's hot topic right now? Social distancing. So social distance with the view. Check out the amazing sunroom on this property overlooking the country club. What pool, you said pool?
Pool and tennis court.
Okay, so you could also put other emojis in there. So let's pop over here. Let's go pool. And let's see, here's a person swimming. What country club is it?
No, it's the country club setting. Whoops.
Okay.
Yeah, country club setting on this property, pool and tennis court. It's right there. It's vacation at home.
Okay. So the other thing is tennis. Emojis are big for catching people's attention. You don't want to overdo it, but at the same time, like, it's good to have some of these things in here. So you see what I'm doing here is I created an ad, I created some this. Now I would put either a picture of that view here, if that's one of the pictures, or again, what we're doing is we're highlighting something unique about the property. We're not just necessarily advertising the property, we're advertising an aspect of the property. So I would call this, and then I would say vacation at home with this. And you know what? You could even say escape the city, vacation at home, right? Because that's big right now.
Correct.
So again, I'm taking what's hot as far as trends go. I'm creating this, and I'm adding all this into here. So that's that. And then I usually just hit shuffle and find something. So schedule a, let's try this, use suggestions. Schedule a private virtual tour with me today. So again, what's the price point on this, Debbie? It's $509.
$509, right.
Right. Now, if somebody wanted you to walk through the house and live stream it, would you absolutely go over there and do it?
Yeah, I have some videos already up.
Okay, but if they wanted something like they wanted to look in things, yeah,
yes,
would you do that?
Yes.
Okay, so I would do schedule a private virtual tour with me today, because, and I would say I'd highlight the private, because what we're doing here is we're making it more special for them, right? Ad media is now where you get to pick the photo. So I'm going to hit configure. Let's see if I can pull in a listing photo if it's going to do this. For some reason, and I did clear my cache before I did this, it's just having trouble pulling in the images. So we'll skip this for right now. Obviously, you can put video, or you can grab an image. What I might do, Debbie, is I might actually do a video where you pan the view, right? So they get a sense of what the view is without Especially if they can hear the animals. You know, I wouldn't talk. I would just have it something unique about it, where they see the pool, they see the tennis court, right, and they put that there. So once we have the ad
I
set
have
up,
a quick
Sure.
question. Can we mix pictures and video?
nope, it's one or the other right
It's
now.
one or the other. Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Yep. So from here, then you obviously you need your DBA logo, which puts it at the bottom corner of it in there, and then save ad media. Now it's not going to let me do this because I don't have the images, and I don't have any images of the properties. That's fine, but that's okay. It will, if you do that, you save ad media. It's then going to move on. So next, I'm going to go to configure. And you choose your account. So again, remember, you have to have your Facebook connected. And if anybody needs help with that, we can do it at the end of class. You pick your account and then you pick your page. So mine's my McHugh Real Estate page. And now you have two options. You have the use Facebook lead generation form and you have the use site or landing page. There are two differences in this and they are uniquely tied together. If you use the Facebook lead generation form, it uses the Facebook algorithm to find people who are likely to fill that form in, okay? So I want you to think about going narrow or going wide. And when I say going narrow is if you want to have a smaller target audience, but you want more registrations, use the Facebook lead generation form. If you want to give the listing as much exposure as possible, but you don't necessarily care if they fill out the form or not, use the site or landing page. Those are the two key differences between those. I would recommend maybe having a budget for both because one is better for you and one will satisfy the seller, right? As far as maximum exposure, right? So if you put let's say $10 or $20 towards one, put $10 or $20 towards the other. So you're not only going to maximize registrations, but you're going to get more exposure as well, okay? You could take, if you're going to do 20 for each, you could take 40 and put it in one. It would also increase exposure, but you know, it's just a little different about how the algorithm runs. Now, regardless of which one you do, whether you use this or landing page, you are going to have to put a destination URL. So what I would do is I would either have a single property landing page for the property, or just find your website, your KW website, find the property on that and put that there. You could do one or the other. It's up to you. It doesn't particularly matter unless you want it to, like, maybe you have, I know for some people who use like listings to leads, that has certain lead generation capabilities on it. So if you have something you like to use for that property, put that in the destination URL here.
So, and what we have decided for, right, tell me if this makes sense, if it's
Sure.
logical, is we're using the Facebook lead generation form virtually exclusively,
Yep.
and then taking them to either a landing page with more information or just that link. And it seems to me that that covers it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Is that right?
You know, and you could have a bunch of different things. I know if you like, a strategy that you might do is if you have a page with the property that has other calls to action on it, like similar properties, right? Or something like that, you could do that. You know, again, conversion in that sense is going to depend on what the call to action is following it, right? So I would just be mindful of that.
So can you make a note and show us how to capture a link such as that would be similar properties? Sure. Okay.
So I'm going to go here and let's see. Let me go to Fairfield County for sale.com. This is my market leader thing. This is my market leader site. And so I'm going to search for the property on here. Let's find it. They've changed this site significantly. This was 3 Dahlia. I'll remember it eventually by the time. I believe you can also do this on the KW site, the site there. So here's the property. If you scroll down, you see how it has nearby listings right here. So this site would ultimately allow you to have some of that. That's an example of where you could do that. If I go to mchugh.kw.com, which is my KW site, and I do 3 Dahlia, see if it gets it. Nope. Where do we go? We're in Bristol. That's interesting. 3 Dahlia. What's the is it road, lane?
Oh, sorry, Lane. Reading, yeah, that'll get you there, I think.
Here we go. We got it. Yep. So I'm going to click on this one. And let's.
And then show us where we're going to save the URL. Show us how to do that.
Scroll down and you see this has some interesting information. You have your Keller Mortgage and your Keller covered links right here, as well as information in the property and homes nearby, right? So it's less prominent than the Market Leader site, and yet there's a lot of information here that might prompt people to be interested. The URL is just this. If you go up to the top where you type in the www, you copy this. I'm going to copy the URL right here. I'm going to go back to create campaign, and I'm going to paste it here. And that's all that is right there. Okay, so that's what you would do for your destination URL or your site or landing page. Again, remember, this one has lead capture. If you're going to use the site or landing page, you may want something with a little more lead capture than that. But again, that's a different thing.
Strategy.
Yep. So I'm going to scroll down now. Once you pick that, you do your ad targeting. Now, this is where we can talk a little bit about which you want to do. Now, so right now it's saying you can add targeting just location. If I click custom settings, I can either do a custom audience or my database. Custom audience is just a location. So a lot of people we think are coming from New York. So I'm going to type New York, New York. I'm going to say a radius of 20 miles, and I'm not going to put any interest in there. Maybe I could do tennis. See if that, because it's not in there. Swimming, this is, oops, I should spell that right. Swimming pools might be a thing. Let's see if we can get tennis now. Didn't seem to want to work. So tennis didn't want to work. Country club. No, okay. So I'm just gonna say tennis and be done with it. You don't have, or sorry, swimming pools. You don't have to do that. You don't have to pick an interest. You can, but location is the most important. So, oops, it didn't pick this. New York, New York. And then I'm going to click Save Facebook Ad. So now it's running through, and as you look, it's mad at me because remember, we didn't pick a picture, so I'm not going to be able to save this. But that being said, everything else is in place. Budget and duration. Now, here's what I would say on this. If you get an error regarding budget and duration, it's usually because you picked 2 different campaigns and you didn't have enough to cover them. So right now, I just picked Facebook. But if I picked Facebook and Instagram and I didn't put any budget towards one, or I put like the wrong amount towards one, it would give me an error. So there is a minimum of, I believe it's $1 per day. So if you pick 2 channels, you need to make sure the setting is set up so that the total budget allows you to have that amount per day in that channel, okay? So that's a common error that I see that people have. One last thing. is I want to go over this, and we're going to come back to target my database because I want to talk to you about what we can do with this in a minute. Any questions on this thus far, guys?
I wanted to know, I mean, you put the emojis.
Yes.
So how did you go there and how did you bring that? I couldn't get it.
Great question. I use a website called emojipedia.com, which allows me to search for emojis, and then I can just copy and paste them, and that works just fine. Okay. All right.
How did you bring it to the this command page?
Yep. You just find an emoji you want. So like if I click on activities and man surfing, whatever emoji I want.
Okay.
You just go in here, and then you can copy it. I click the copy button.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And now I can paste it right into that, into not over here, into the ad section.
Yeah, the description. Yeah.
Yep.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to scroll down. Great. So once I do that, and it's not going to let me hit publish campaign because I had an issue with the image, but you hit publish campaign and then it runs. And it's going to say which credit card do you want to use if you have multiple on file, and if you to authorize it, and then you authorize it, and your ad will usually take about 24 hours for it to be up and running, and then it will run. Any questions on that, guys? Now, I'm going to go back, Debbie, to answer your question on the Keller Mortgage. So let's say now we do that, and we're starting to collect a lot of different leads, right? We're starting to collect people from Facebook, but they're not responding to us, right? Because we talked about there may be a lot of looky-loos this early on. Well, one of the things you can do is as they come in, if you tag them all with something like a buyer retargeting tag, then you can run an ad for Keller Mortgage. And when you have over 100 leads or 200 leads or 300 leads, however many, click target my database and retarget those people who had previously filled out your form with the Keller Mortgage ad. So now they're in your database and you're retargeting them to see, okay, which of these people are actually interested in getting a loan? And I'm going to, since I now tag them, I can now retarget. So I click this time, I say, target my database, and I pick that. I'm going to click sphere because I don't have whatever, but
Yes, sure, but you could so one of the things we're doing, the system that we're using for these leads is tagging them as Facebook leads as
Yes.
they come in.
Yes.
So I could then choose that tag, the Facebook leads, and retarget them. Oh,
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah.
My concern about Sphere is the issue with different email addresses, because I know so many people signed up for Facebook a long time ago with
Sure.
goofy emails, and they're using the ones that I have are not the ones they signed up
Sure.
to Facebook with. And so
Sure.
I'm concerned about that.
So
But that's a great strategy.
yeah, with that, what you should be able to do, you might be able to do is if you go to facebook.com, give me 1 second. I logged me out. So I'm going to click on Debbie Orr. Let's find you. I'm going to click on About. And they would have had to make this public, but if I click on Contact and Basic Information, they may have an email address listed here. So you could potentially go in here and find an email address. There is also a way, and I'll have to research it, guys, I don't know off the top of my head, but you used to be able to download your entire Facebook database And if they had email address associated with them, it would show it. But that takes again, I gotta, let me create a video and I'll send that out on how to do that. But you can find information on there. Now, eventually, and I've talked to KWRI development about this, they don't only have to match based on email address. Right now, the system does match based on email address, but in the future, it may be able to match on Facebook ID. So if you have their Facebook profile linked in there, it can match based on that. So one way one thing that you can ultimately do is get that in there so when they add that feature, you're ready for it. The other thing that you could potentially do is, and this is outside of command, but get them to like your page and then boost posts to them. And I know that people say boosting doesn't work as well, but remember, if we're targeting our database, we're just looking for mind share, not leads. When Facebook says boosting doesn't work, they're saying it doesn't work for getting leads. But if we're talking about the two parts of real estate, there's not only lead generation, there's also establishing mind share. Boosting works very well for that if you're targeting your database who know you already. Does that make sense?
It does. And my question is, has anybody else had an issue with this? Since I've been doing campaigns through Command, I cannot seem to boost any posts on my own page, on my business page. It gets rejected. Has anybody else had that problem?
I have not seen that. What kind of boosts have you been trying to do?
Normal and typical, like just the general audiences that I've used in the past. I've even made them more general.
Yeah, so there may have been, I try just boosting to friends of people who like your page and friends of people who like your page.
Okay.
Try just doing that, because again, if you're looking for mind share, that's all that matters with mind share, right? For lead generation, not so much, but for establishing mind share, like the MREA says, that is absolutely enough to do it. And again, I do take issue, and I'll say this, I take issue with Facebook saying boosting doesn't work, and they're right, because it doesn't work for lead generation, right? Boosting doesn't work for lead generation, but mind share is the other half of the MREA. Right. And so that's very important. And I think boosting can help you there.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other question, guys? That is pretty much it. As far as how to do it, we can now open it up to maybe if you guys have strategies you want to share, or things ideas that you might have. Or if you just have a question like, can I do this? Feel free to get off mute and ask the question. Not all at once. Got it. Okay, we got a thank you. And yes, Sheila, is this recorded? I think it was. I believe my last Facebook campaign class was recorded. So if this wasn't, you can check you should be able to check the YouTube channel, and it should be on there. But let me confirm. I didn't put record, so. No, it looks like it was automatically recording. So as long as they put it up there, cool. If that's it, I'll open it up to any other. Oh,
I have a question.
Yes.
So this the campaign, only the friends and the friends of friends can see, or it is like open to everyone?
Great question. So
It's like
that is-
public.
yeah, that is just on Facebook. If you're running a boost, that's just friends of people who like your page and friends of friends. That's a completely different strategy. This strategy that we talked about here is for just advertising to anybody, right? Just the general public. So anybody on Facebook.
So you don't have to have those people in your friends.
Nope.
Okay.
And then if they get added to your database, you can then retarget them in the strategy. Now you need about 100 people. So you will have to run enough ads to get 100 people. And actually it usually needs more than 100 because it needs 100 matches. So what you need to do is you need to run ads and then target all of those people who come in from your, again, your listings to then retarget and then have as additional, see who's more serious.
Okay.
Now, Sheila, to answer your question, the minimum that Facebook requires, she said budget, how low can you go that will work? The minimum Facebook requires is $1 a day per channel. So I have done that, and look, you're not going to get a ton of leads, but you will get some. So obviously, the more that you run, the better, the more money. My thing that I would say is go to the MREA. Look at the MREA, and Debbie, oh, she left, but I would say, look at what the MREA says for what your income level is, your GCI level is, how much you should be spending on lead generation, and then and decide how much of that budget you want to put towards Facebook. So $1 a day is the minimum, and I have gotten leads at $1 a day. They do not flood in. It will take longer to get to the point where you can retarget. However, it's possible to do $1 a day. Any other questions? All right. On that note, guys, I will end the class. And thanks for joining us. And yes, there should be a recording of this. It's been recorded. I will make sure they put it on the Facebook page. Thanks, guys.